It's the sort of public event that should be impossible in a pandemic. But millions of South Koreans have gone to the polls. The first national elections to be held in an infected country.
I thought the election would be postponed, so I was very worried since it took place as scheduled. Wearing gloves and keeping a distance from other people were not that difficult, and I saw many staff working hard for voters. This is our first time as we are suffering from coronavirus, and I think it was a good choice to open here.
If people in self-quarantine take safety measures, I don't think we need to worry too much. The government have said that keeping a distance is important, and they will wear a face mask, so I'm not that worried about them coming to vote.
This hasn't been an entirely typical campaign. Kissing babies is off the cards, even if social distancing hasn't quite been observed. Early voting was held on Friday and Saturday, so the crowds wouldn't be concentrated on just one day. President Moon Jae-in was among those to cast an early ballot. Public support for the government's handling of the crisis is likely to leave his party in control of the National Assembly. Today, voters had to wear masks, have their temperature checked, disinfect their hands, then don gloves before entering the polling booth. All the time keeping 1 metre apart. But the background is South Korea's extensive testing, tracing and quarantine measures, which means the country has recorded fewer than 250 deaths from COVID-19. As a result, authorities felt the elections could go ahead safely, according to Professor Jeon Jae-hyun, a specialist in infectious disease who's involved in screening cases in Seoul.
There are three main strategies composed of searching and destroy, reverse isolation of vulnerable people, and influx control. It is important to know where this infectious source is in the Korean-wide, national-wide. And we developed some special programs and apps, even apps, to detect where they are and whether they are keeping their isolation strategies at home well or not.
The sorts of measures being applied in countries around East Asia are letting people return to a more or less normal life. They start at the border, where governments like Taiwan, South Korea, Japan and China have all imposed strict controls and quarantines. Here in Beijing, they don't have to worry about democratic elections, but they're still making use of new tools to keep a watchful eye on the population and guard against coronavirus outbreaks. Face masks are pretty much compulsory everywhere. You've also got the ubiquitous temperature checks, but then there's this as well. So this is an app, it's run by the Chinese government, and it gives you a pass. This means green, I'm okay to go, and that's based on my location data. So I just show the guy, I do that. Okay. Today's election in South Korea was remarkable visual proof that democracies, not just authoritarian regimes, can weather coronavirus. Their success is worth studying. Tools and techniques that might be useful for post-lockdown UK, whenever that may be. Tom Cheshire, Sky News, Beijing.